Are you guys into Chimaev versus the world, or does that make you uncomfortable? I mean, where do you stand with that, right? Like every time there's Chimaev, but he's ready to go. He's ready. Paulo Costa, just being a fine example. Chimaev was with Darren Till backstage. Somebody came up and challenged Till to a fight. Do you guys remember this? And it really upset Chimaev. You want to fight? Let's fight right now. You're walking up and challenging my friend to a fight. Let's fight right now. Is that cool? I mean, are you into that, or does it make you feel uncomfortable? Because there's a line, right? And I don't totally know where that line is. I just know it when I see it. Fine example would be Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor had the same thing. It's me versus the world. To hell with you all. I am my own brand. I'm doing my own thing. Now, if Conor did it, you'd probably think, well, that's a pretty good thing to copy. Seem to get everything right. Well, that's a broad stroke statement. There was some things that Conor did that I wished he hadn't. He ended up with something backstage with Uriah Faber. It bothered me. It made me uncomfortable. Now, it was just Uriah and it was just Conor. It was just one-on-one. It wasn't 3 or 4. It wasn't one of these things. It was just one-on-one. And it resulted in something. I mean, Conor touched him. But the reason I didn't like it is Uriah thought he was coming face-to-face with an acquaintance. Faber thought he saw somebody and was being civil and telling him hello. And Conor was just in a different mood. Same thing happened with Conor and Tyron Woodley. Now, again, it was one-on-one. Everything's fine. Nobody's being bullied. But Tyron had said hello to Conor. And Conor got very upset. Do you guys remember this thing? Remember this thing? They're like at a craft service table. And Tyron says, "What's up?" Conor's like, "What'd you say?" So Tyron said it again. He said, "I said, what's up?" It just got a little bit awkward. I'm wondering if you guys like that. Chimaev has gone out to say, as far as I hope there's a brawl at the weigh-in, I'm going to have 20 guys with me. Now, is he just standing his ground and let you know, don't try this stuff with me? It's a new kid on the block. That's fine. That's cool. I'm in with it. Or does that make you guys uncomfortable, right? Because I'm not going to tune into a weigh-in excited that perhaps I'm going to see a brawl. Those are just things that within our sport, we don't like when that happens. Not to mention if it's premeditated. It's very different. And I know that we're not to take him literal. I'm just sharing with you a little bit of the time frame so I can come back to the question of, do you guys think this is cool? In wrestling, this has never happened. In professional wrestling, you had the bad guys and you had the good guys. And this is scripted and it's entertainment, but they did great business. They got TV deals, moved some merchandise and packed houses all over the world. It's the good guys versus the bad guys. And you always band to one side. If you're a brand new wrestler, you just got on the scene. Am I in this locker room or I am in this locker room? There was no third locker room. And a guy came along called Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Stone Cold Steve Austin, for sure, was a bad guy. He had a bad attitude, he had a bad look, and he had bad language. For sure, he's a bad guy. What was different about him is he hated the fellow bad guys just as much as he hated the good guys. All of a sudden, you've got this anti-hero. It had never been created. Even in Vince McMahon's wildest imaginations, who's a wonderful storyteller, by the way, he never created somebody that was by himself. He equally despises both of you. In the world of politics, he would be what's called an independent. But it wasn't just that I get along with the Republicans and I get along with the Democrats. It was I do not like the Republicans and I equally do not like the Democrats, right? It's a very different thing. And when you saw it, you saw how well it worked for Stone Cold Steve Austin. So he says, to hell with it, it's me against the world. He's in the ring. All of a sudden, 3 guys come in because they got friends. He's got nobody to back him up. He's alone. Now, Stone Cold happened to have the script on his side so he can elbow one guy, clothesline the other over the top rope, give the third one a stunner, nobody's left standing, and there he is. But in real life, it doesn't work that way. You've got to have friends. You've got to align. There has to be somebody that stands with you. Who are those people? See, that code's important. That code matters. Because Nate Diaz lives by that same code, and his circle is very small. It's small enough that they got their own name called the Scrap Pack. It's Nate, his brothers, Shield, and Gilbert. That's it. If you were not one of those four, you're not in the club. It's one of these things, but that was an amazing story. That has always been an amazing story, right? The Four Horsemen, like that kind of thing works, particularly when it's real and it's a code that came from, in this case, the streets, and it got carried over to the professional ranks. It's great. People banned to it. People liked it. But we also understood it. There's a code there. No matter what kind of mood Nate Diaz is in, no matter how cranky Nate happens to be feeling, if it's Jake or Nick or Gilbert, it doesn't extend to them. If you throw a water bottle at Nate, bad things could happen, unless Gilbert threw him the water bottle. It's one of these things, but you still knew who his pack was. And I'm just wondering, I don't actually have my own opinion on this yet. I'm attempting to form it. I am into Chimaev. I think it was one of the great marketing experiments ever done, and it was done on accident. It was done on accident out of a willingness by Chimaev. And the one part of the story that people continue to miss, Chimaev fought 2 times in 8 days. Oh my goodness, what a tough guy. Oh, he wins both of them. Oh, he stops both guys in the very first round. Like, what an incredible story. The best part of that gets left out is the second fight was at a lower weight. It's the absolute best part of the Chimaev story. Chimaev's first fight, I'm going back to Fight Island, and you people that think that you know the story and you're following right along, okay, great, but his first fight was at 85. His second fight was at 70. That's what makes it so interesting. He was not supposed to be there. He wasn't prepared to be there. He didn't know this opponent. He did not prepare for this opponent. He essentially, while on Fight Island in this bubble, essentially, he's on vacation. Dana's got him this beautiful room with a beautiful view and all the wonderful foods you could imagine, and he went down 15 pounds. It's the best part of the whole story, and it gets left out. So I am very into Chimaev. However, I don't want to be uncomfortable. I mean, I really don't want to be uncomfortable. When he confronted Paulo Costa, it made for a good piece of theater. The other side of the story is that was at the PI, where everybody's welcome. This is a place people have to feel comfortable and at home. They just do. You can't walk in there looking over your shoulder. I spent a big part of my career having to do that. That being that very same thing. I can remember a time I was with my hot-ass now wife in a lobby of a hotel and the elevator doors open. Boom, so we can jump in. Right, the doors had closed. We pushed the button. We didn't know that. So before they ever took off, it reopens them so we can get in. The elevator was full. Got the Nogueira brothers. Got Gabe Gonzaga. Anderson Silva. And it's got Vanderlei in the same elevator. And the doors open. Here I am with my wife. Go ahead. We're going to get another car. But I shouldn't have to be like that. There was no cameras around. We weren't fighting. I should have been able to get right in. I should have been able to slide her. Hey, Anderson, by the way, this is my wife, Brittany. I should have been able to do that. But I didn't do it. It would have been foolish to do it. What I did was the right way to do it. It was the safer way to do it. I'm just sharing with you, there's a time and a place. But I don't know that Chimaev has that. I think it's any time, any place. There's a coolness to it. There's a part that you guys are going to be drawn to. I don't know that he's gone too far. But it's also not a clear code. I mean, look at the position that Jake Shields got put in when he had to back up Paulo Costa. And even if everything ended cool in the game, what if it hadn't? Am I being a prude? Am I a little bit of a baby about this? I don't think so, because I'm not pointing a finger. I'm not going as far as to say that Chimaev was wrong. I'm sharing with you as we get on board and we start to understand Chimaev and we start to come on this journey that looks like it's probably going to give us another decade. With Chimaev's age and the fact that we all know he's planning to go up and change weight class, we probably got about a 10-year journey here. So I'm trying to understand, I'm trying to get to know him. And everybody has a code. You can't be a hero unless you have a code and you establish that for the audience. You cannot be a hero unless you fiercely adhere to the rules of the code. Bad guy 101. If you're going to be a heel, and particularly if you're going to be a bad guy, you're going to have to do things that are against the rules, right? That's what makes it bad. There's a rule and you break it. However, you still have to have a code. And even if that's not the same one that society elected for you, you have your own code. You identify that, and no matter what, you follow the rules of that code that you explain to the audience. Bad Guy 101. And I'm watching Chimaev, and I'm trying to understand it. But I don't yet know what that code is.